Hi there, Rabbi. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Joe.
I recognize all those icons in your background from my daughter's phone. I'm not sure what all of them are, but I know enough to say that they represent various social media platforms. Those have been in the news quite a bit lately. Most of them are being discussed as worthy of restriction or restraint. What's your perspective on that?
Before I retired from the VA, I was an addictions chaplain at one of our VA psych hospitals. And at one time, it was a 30-day program. So our veterans rotated in and out. So it was a constant turnover. Once, twice, maybe even three times a month, one of my veterans would stand and ask the group, I want everyone here who was tied up, restrained, and injected or forced to use drugs to stand. Nobody stood. Then the veteran would say, I want everyone here who used their own hand and fingers to inject, snort, or inhale, and everybody stood up. And then there was different terminology depending on the veteran, but it was always the same thing. And then the veteran would say, exactly, we did it to ourselves. Now let's use this program to learn how to stop doing it to ourselves. No one forced us, no one injected us, but we are addicted. Now let's learn how not to continue feeding our addiction. And that's has stuck with me throughout my career. And obviously now that's why I'm mentioning it. And it applies to social media. I would say I have not met many people that were tied up and forced to use social media. And if anyone out there was restrained and locked up and forced, please send me an email, call me, text me. I'd like to keep track of how many people were forced to use it. Just like my addicts, the reality is we push the buttons, we spend the time. Rather than looking for the government to ban or the government to censor or the government to stop, we have to take our thumbs off our devices. If social media is a problem, and if you're a parent, you're the parent. You're not your children's best friend. You're not your children's playmate. Hate to tell you that. And your job isn't to be a helicopter to your children. You're a parent. And as a parent, you're there to set boundaries. You're there to keep our children on track. And if it means limiting the time, if it means taking the device away, if it means having conversations, but lead by example. If your child sees you glued to the screen, then to take away their device won't work, doesn't make sense. Don't do that because you're the role model. If you don't want your children on social media, don't you be on social media. We did a presentation on this. I'd love to go to a restaurant with some friends that no one takes a picture of our food. It's absurd. And then posts it. No. If we want our children to have some self-control, it starts with us. And as my addicts point out, no one forced them, so no one's forcing us. We have to look at what it's doing to our lives rather than society or culture or our next door neighbor. Let's take a look at how much time we spend on social media and how it's affecting our lives. Then our children will see by example. And if the example isn't enough, then maybe you do have to have some rules. Do you let your children eat as much candy as they want? Do you let your children have chocolate instead of dinner? Probably not. You probably create a balanced diet. Some things kids have a taste for, some they don't. So we modify things, we present things so are more palatable for children. Oh, that's all fine. Same thing. Social media is up to us. It's a big mistake to turn to government or politics to ban or outlaw or whatever they may want to do to stop or prevent something. We have thumbs.
Well, there you go, Rabbi. One thing that's always entertaining to me is your observations. So, whatever you turn off, don't turn off the Rabbi and I channel because that's where we find you every week.
And if you don't want to watch us, you can go to the podcast, The Rabbi and I. If you're really adventurous, I have started live on TikTok Wednesday nights at 8. Maybe not every Wednesday, but during the week, I do post a short TikTok advertising when I will be live, but I've decided to use an 8 p.m. slot. So I look for you, you look for me. You can ask questions. We can talk to each other on TikTok. Thank you.